All right, good morning, everybody that's joined the Coup Connect for Tuesday. No, it's Thursday already. My gosh, this week is going by so fast. Anyway, welcome. It's good to have you with us again. Today's title, if it's to be, there's another typo. Boy, I got to get somebody to proofread me. It's up to me, and that'll be me. So anyway, welcome. We're going to do one last portion of our journey that we've been talking about as far as how the mind works and patterning and so forth. And this one is really starting to talk about how we start changing those patterns inside our head. So, way we go as we go forward. I'm going to have you do something real quick. So before I even go to the next slide, I'd like you to get a piece of paper out. Doesn't matter what size, but go ahead, get a piece of paper out. And you're going to need something like a pencil or a pen or something to draw on that with and write. So go ahead, get that piece of paper out, get a writing implement, and we will be doing a short exercise in just a moment. All right, so give me either thumbs up or somebody on chat. Everybody got pen and paper, pencil? I'm going to assume that there's a yes or so out there. Yep, there we go. Thank you, Angela. Appreciate it. There's a thumbs up. Thanks, Emily. All right, so next slide. Here's what we're going to do. Need you to recreate what you see, the spoked wheel that you see. So it doesn't have to be perfectly straight lines. I'm not a stickler for that. Just go ahead and create those lines. And at the end of each spoke, jot down the little title that we put there. So job arena and spiritual and health and family, financial, exercise, education, knowledge, self. I'll give you a moment to finish that up. All right, now, as I know some people write faster than others, so once again, in either chat or somebody give me a thumbs up or wherever you want to do it, just go ahead and let me know if you're all ready to go. Emily's good. All right, I'll assume everybody's ready to go. All right, good. All right, so what we're going to do is in the center here, that's your 0 point. If it's a very subjective measure, it's basically how am I doing in each area. So I'll use, give me my pointer here. Use a pen. So here's my 0 point for all the spokes. And now I'm going to rate myself on how I perceive how I'm doing in each of these areas. So first of all, let's talk about these real briefly. So spiritual, I don't mean that you're going to church every day or things like that. That's not what we're talking about, although it could be an aspect of spiritual. What we're talking about is your connectivity with, the greater whole, this planet that we're on and everything that's in it and so forth. So kind of more the mindfulness and how you connect and so forth. Health, that's pretty straightforward. So how are you taking care of your health? Are you going in for regular checkups and maintenance and all that other stuff? How's the family doing? Is family life seemingly, even in this weirdness of COVID, the family in general is doing pretty well. Financial, how are things going there? Are we on track for our longer term future? Are we doing okay right now? Exercise, whatever your program is, are you doing it? That kind of thing. Are you taking time for self-development and learning and growing? And then just time for self. We do, especially in COVID, I have found, we tend to be kind of honed in with just the folks that we hang around and that we're close to at the family unit and so forth. But do we occasionally take time for ourselves? Do we have that 15 minutes in the morning by ourselves to meditate or go for a walk or whatever it may be? Are you doing stuff for you as well? And then how's the job going? Are you in a position where you're doing things that play to your strengths and so forth? All right, and we're going to measure those. The end of the spoke is going to be an arbitrary 10, right? So you're going to put a 10 on the end of each of those spokes. And then on each one of them, I'm just going to put a dot or some kind of thing that how's the job going? All right, so I'm going to just put one right there. And spiritual connectedness, I'm still kind of working on things there, but that's kind of going. Health overall, I am going in for my checkups and doing that kind of stuff. So overall, doing okay. Family. Right now, I think maybe I've mentioned once or twice, our daughter's out in Chicago and studying up, and she'll be back in the Northwest next spring, hopefully. Um, and we do connect with her once a week through Zoom meetings and just kind of touch base. Our son just moved back from Germany with his family, so they're going to be closer here in Washington State. So overall, things are going pretty well. Financial, things are going okay. You know, still would like to win the lotto, but it's going all right. I am just really not happy with myself because of I'm not exercising like I have been in the past. So I've got, that's an area of concern for me. Education, knowledge, that's kind of my day-to-day stuff. So I do get exposed to a lot of new and interesting things. Am I taking time for self? I try to find at least 5 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the afternoon, but it could be better. One thing I used to do is once a year, I always had, and wife approval on this one was I always had a guy's ski trip where we were 6 days of skiing up in Canada, kind of just doing stuff for self, right? And taking care of that. And that's kind of gone out of my life. So some things maybe to look at there. All right, so there's our measurement. Hopefully you've got yours. Now what we want to do next is connect the dots. So just draw your line here, connecting the dots. Sorry for the freehand on PowerPoint. All right, so I don't know what your shape looks like, but as I look at mine, you know, sometimes we hear or maybe have heard the phrase, the road of life is pretty rough. And when I look at this, I kind of go, maybe it's not the road, maybe it's the wheel that I'm using to travel that road on. It's kind of bumpy because that is not a circle, right? If everything was symmetrical and I had 10s all the way around, or at least 8s all the way around, it'd be a nice kind of roundish figure instead of this very almost squared off type of thing. So it'd be kind of bumpy. So essentially what this is going to be used for is I want you to just focus in on one area. What's an area you want to choose, grow, do things differently, and have a better outcome 6 months, 12 months, 2 years from now, whatever it is, whatever you're focusing on, you know, think about which one is it that I want to really focus on. All right, so I'm going to just erase those for just a moment. And we'll just keep going on to the next area. All right. We'll just go to the next slide. So what we're going to do is take that concept. We've identified where an area of our life we want to grow in, right? So how do we create that new normal? Give me my pointer back. Where'd my pointer go? All right. So here's some principles. I'm going to throw some phrases out for you to consider as we look at this area of our life that we're going to grow in. All right. Here's one that I really had to think about when I first heard this. The goal comes first, then we perceive. Now, the more I've played with that, the more I've been around to it and exposed, it really does tend to be true. Let's say you're going on vacation. You decide as a family you want to go on a vacation somewhere. And you hem and you haw, you don't know how we're going to have the money or the finances or how are we going to, whatever it is we're going to do. But after some discussion, the family finally agrees we're going to go to Yellowstone for a week, Yellowstone National Park for a week. All right, all of a sudden that helps crystallize the rest of the planning. We now have the goal. We want to go on vacation with the family to Yellowstone. We're going to spend 5 days there. Now we start talking about how we're going to do that. So what are the finances going to look like? Are we going to do car trip? Are we going to camp? Are we going to get a cabin? You know, all of those things start to fall into place once our mind is clear. And that's the key, is the goal comes first. And once you have goal clarity, the brain, even though you're not cognizant of it all the time, is working on it. It's wanting to put detail and structure to how am I going to achieve the goal. All right, so that's one thing. Another phrase, as we visualize the new, so this is talking about creating new habits and so forth. So this is definitely tying right back to our balance wheel we just saw. Let's say it's the exercise one. I'm going to pick that for me. I'll just say it out loud. So anytime you see me or interact with me, you can hold me accountable and say, Don, are you doing your exercises like you talked about on Could Connect? I'm fine with that, because I personally believe once I may have the goal up here, but if I don't share it with other people, it's easier for me to let it slip. But as soon as I proclaim it out to some people and the world, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be getting up every morning, and I'm going to get back in my routine of stretching and push-ups and planks and doing a 15-minute walk every day, or whatever the case may be. Right? So as we visualize the new, we become dissatisfied with the old. That is a very key one, because this starts to act as a motivator. So the more we visualize what it is we want, the goal, we become dissatisfied with whatever our current state is. Our present thoughts determine our future. Now, this ties right back to the other two, in that as I'm thinking, as I'm sitting here, as I'm sitting on my couch in the morning on Saturday morning, eating my breakfast or whatever it may be, what am I thinking of? Am I thinking of, oh, how tired I am, or how I've got so much to do, or these things I need to go get at the grocery store or the hardware store, or all these other things? If I'm letting those thoughts, which they're, that's my to-do list stuff, put it on a to-do list. Let my thoughts go back to, have I done my exercises yet? That's priority number one. And those are the things that I need to keep foremost in my mind, is our present thoughts determine our future. More on that in just a moment. Now, we're going to get into something in a little bit called affirmations, and just kind of talk about how those, I know you've heard it before. There's been Saturday Night Live, skits on it and so forth. And I think it is very humorous and funny. However, the reality is we do operate with affirmations. We're telling ourselves truths all the time, whether we like it or not, or they're good things for us or bad things for us. We're telling ourselves stuff all the time. I'm good at this. I'm not good at that. Oh, I don't do those things. Oh, those kind of people make me uncomfortable. Oh, going there is a lot of fun for me. Those kinds of things, those are all affirmations that we talk to ourselves. So we're going to talk about, these words that we tell ourselves create imaging and emotional responses in us. So it becomes very important for us. And this is the key to creating those new outcomes. This is using this previous statement, words trigger pictures would trigger emotion. This little equation is with imagery and my imagination times how much vividness and reality I can paint in my brain about whatever this new outcome is. Over time, you keep playing that enough with the patterning that we've talked about in the past, and it starts to become the new truth or reality on the subconscious level. So imagination times vividness gives you the new reality at the subconscious level. So that's where we're going with all this next stuff. So we've talked about this, right? I'm not going through this very much again, but we're talking about it on a conscious level. And right now your subconscious may be saying, okay, we can stay through this Could Connect today, but don't worry about it. I'm going to keep you safe. Don't worry about it. Change, we'll keep things just like it is. You're fine. You're going to be okay. That's the trick. We got to keep those new images going and how we talk to ourselves. So with that patterning, you got to go over and over and over again to start overriding the truth that currently exists there and start creating the new truth. Remember a long time ago, if you were with me talking about this stuff, I said, think about when you were 15 years old. Some of the habits and behaviors that all of us had that were kind of goofy as teenagers or whatever. We're a different person today. We have a new truth or reality of who we are and how we behave. Those old ones have faded off, but they're still in there. but we have no dominant belief. So that's what we're talking about using this formula right here. All right, so using affirmations to trigger the pictures that trigger the emotions. Essentially what we're going to do, I'll give you just a little bit of guidance here, although there's a lot more to it. Remember, I think I told the story about becoming a classroom trainer. And at first it was learning to be comfortable with just public speaking because I was deathly afraid of it. And I started using this kind of stuff to, within a very short period of time, start becoming, and also with a lot of great input from good coaches and good people around me, which is key to this. You do want to be around the people that support whatever it is you're trying to do. I got to the point where I was presenting at conferences doing, you know, upwards of, I've had a couple groups of 1,500 people in the auditorium. I'm actually more comfortable with that than I am with about 40 or 50 people right now, because all of a sudden you're at a much more personal level there. So anyway, affirmations, you do want to make them personal. It's an I statement. I am comfortable presenting in any type of environment, information that I'm comfortable with and want to share with others. It makes me good to present in a way that other people enjoy hearing the information and can use the information to better themselves. So I'm starting out with those I's. I'm triggering emotions because it makes me feel positive to share with others and connect in a way that will help them. And it's present tense. It's not I will become or I want to. It is I do or I am. I am very comfortable on stage. I am very comfortable skiing. I'll switch venues here. I'm now skiing up at Big White in British Columbia, and I'm taking any of the powder slopes, you know, even the double diamonds, and I'm very comfortable going down those. I exercise with great pleasure every morning, and it makes me feel good once I'm done. You know, so I visualize that and talk through myself that way, and can see myself every morning starting to get up, start getting up 15 minutes earlier, get these things done. All of that needs to be present tense as if you're doing it right now, and trigger those emotions. All right, so basically it's going to be using that I times V equals the new reality, but using your visualizations and affirmations. Get that total mind immersion. You want to practice this even 5 minutes a day on whatever that area is for you. Just sit there, use the mindfulness techniques that we've seen from some of our other presenters, and experience the whole thing as if it's really happening. And the more you play it and start to practice it, the more the new reality starts to take shape and form. All right. So that's essentially what we're going to be looking at as we use the self-talk cycle that we did last time. Those thoughts create those feelings create the new behaviors, and that new behavior, we start to see some differences, right? Maybe it's around saving $5 every paycheck, and then 2 years from now it's increased to I'm saving $50 per paycheck. And every time you have that behavior and you see that money in that account growing, it reinforces the belief. Matter of fact, it could create a new drive for you saying, that's not enough, I'm gonna save $100 a month. And you start to get in that pattern of a positive cycle towards the goal that you might have. All right, so that's it for today, but I wanted to just share these things that, once again, you can Google this kind of information. I believe last time on the self-talk cycle, I shared Google, the Pacific Institute. They're over in Seattle. They do a lot of great information with this. They have some free newsletters that you can get that all ties into this kind of information, and you can get on the list if you want to use that. So anybody want to throw anything in the chat line, any questions, any comments before we start shutting it down for today? Everybody's looking good, all right? Okay, well, thank you guys. All right, thanks folks. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Look forward to having you join us next week as well. And as you can see, Maria Royal from our HRS benefits team is going to be sharing a presentation she did for Human Resources just this week on mental health and well-being. It's really great information. So hopefully you can join in and get some others to join as well. Have a great Thursday.